All right, today we are going to dive into one of the most foundational stories in Western culture, Genesis chapter 3. We're going to walk through this incredible narrative, piece by piece, to really understand how the story of the fall unfolds. Let's get right into it. And the whole thing kicks off right here, with this one simple question from the serpent. Now, what's so brilliant, so cunning about this, is that it's not an outright lie. Nope. It's a very carefully worded question, designed to do one thing: plant a tiny seed of doubt about what God really said. So yeah, this initial question, you could say it's the engine for the entire conflict. It's just a masterclass in how to introduce a competing idea, and it all starts right here. And here you can see it, side by side, the direct contradiction. God's instruction clearly connects eating the fruit with death. But the serpent? It just flatly denies it. You will not surely die. I mean, that is a direct challenge to their reality, replacing a very clear warning with a very tempting promise. And this is the hook. See, the serpent doesn't just deny the punishment. It goes a step further and completely reframes God's entire motive. It suggests this isn't about protecting them, but about God withholding something amazing, divine knowledge. Suddenly, the command is painted as a kind of cosmic gatekeeping. So, with that tempting new idea planted firmly in her mind, the narrative focus shifts. Now we get to see how the woman herself reasons through this choice. You know, what's so fascinating is the text gives us this very clear three-step breakdown of her decision. First, it's a physical appeal. It looked good to eat. Second, an aesthetic one. It was just pleasant to look at. But that third reason? That's the clincher. It was desirable for gaining wisdom. The serpent's promise has totally taken root. So she eats. She gives some to her husband, who is right there with her, and he eats too. And this one action immediately triggers the story's climax, a profound, instantaneous change in how they see everything. And it turns out the serpent was kind of right. Their eyes were opened. But the knowledge they gain isn't some divine power. It's a sudden, jarring awareness of their own vulnerability. Their innocence is just gone, instantly replaced by self-consciousness. And their reaction is really telling. It's twofold. First, they try to fix the physical problem, right? They cover themselves with fig leaves. But then they try to solve the spiritual problem, this new chasm between them and God, by hiding. Their instinct is no longer to walk with their Creator, but to run away from Him. Well, this sets the stage for the next part of the story, the confrontation. The sound of God walking in the garden, something that was probably once a comfort, is now a source of absolute terror. And God's first question, it's not an accusation, it's a question of location. Where are you? It just hangs in the air, creating this incredible tension. I mean, of course, God knows where they are physically. The question seems to be digging at something much, much deeper. Adam's response connects all the dots of this brand new emotional world they're living in. The voice of God now causes fear. That fear comes from his nakedness, and that feeling of exposure makes him hide. The relationship they had before, it's completely broken. God then follows up with two very direct, very probing questions. The first one, who told you that you were naked, gets right to the heart of this new knowledge they have. And the second one cuts right to the chase. Have you eaten from the tree? The interrogation has officially begun. And what happens when they're confronted directly? Well, we get the first instance of blame shifting. Adam points right at the woman, and even sort of blames God by saying, "The woman whom you gave to be with me." Then the woman points to the serpent. It's a perfect chain of blame where nobody actually takes responsibility. So this chain of blame leads directly to the consequences. The time for questions is over. Now the story moves into the pronouncement of judgments, or curses, for everyone involved. And the consequences are very specific to each character. The serpent is cursed to crawl on its belly, and there's now enmity between it and humanity. The woman will face pain in childbirth and a fundamentally changed relationship dynamic. And for the man, the very ground he works is cursed. He'll have to survive by toil and sweat. But believe it or not, the curses on their lives are not the final consequence. The story wraps up with one last irreversible action that will define the rest of the human story. And right here is the tragic irony of it all. God confirms that the serpent's promise came true. Humanity now knows good and evil, becoming like one of us in that one specific way. But this knowledge, since it was gained through disobedience, doesn't lead to becoming more divine. It leads to exile. The final actions are swift, and they are absolute. They are sent out of the Garden of Eden, and the way back is permanently sealed. Angelic beings, cherubim, and a flaming sword are placed to guard the tree of life, making sure humanity can't just go back and achieve immortality in this new, fallen state. So the story leaves us with this huge paradox. Humanity got the knowledge they were promised, but they lost the paradise they lived in. And that leaves us, the reader, with the central question of the entire chapter. What exactly was gained and what was lost in that exchange?